For me, money is the frequency of love. Love is how much can I allow myself to be held by the universe? How much can I trust that I'm divinely supported? And the reason that some people perhaps make all the money in the world, and I've been on this journey myself, I had $1 million business, a beautiful husband, 5 properties, is that I was seeking for love outside of myself. I was seeking for this fulfillment to reach this destination of accomplishment, of getting to this place that I was going to be so rich that I had no more worries in the world, or have so much wealth that I was taken care of. And what I neglected in this process, and what most people don't realize when they're running so fast towards an outcome of something as shallow as just having money as a status, or the ability to buy more things to consume, is that if we're not listening to ourselves on this journey to success, to getting all of these riches, then we reach this destination and realize that it was actually the journey that brought us there that we needed to pay attention to. And what happens if you don't pay attention to yourself on this journey of success and apparent fulfillment is you start to self-sabotage. You start to, they say that the universe will tap you on the shoulder and give you a little nudge, and then it will punch you in the face. And what was true for me, and what can happen with people that are trying to climb the corporate ladder or trying to get their next $1 million deal, is that they're not listening to the universe along the way. We're not listening to the lessons. We're not listening to ourselves. And it really becomes quite a empty pursuit. There is no connection to self. There's generally no connection to others. My marriage broke down in this pursuit purely because I was running so fast towards this material thing, this ability to consume more. And the reason I was trying to consume was because I was trying to fill this void inside. There was this emptiness I felt, and that emptiness was there because I wasn't loving or trusting myself. I was outsourcing the feeling of love with instant gratification. I would buy designer clothes, I would buy a nice house, I would consume, and I thought that money was giving me everything I desired because it would give me this instant buzz of dopamine that would make me feel happy in an instant. What I started to realize was that emotion, that feeling was very fleeting. It was essentially like taking a drug that high came really quickly and then it was gone as fast as it came. That was one of the things I started to work on in this journey of discovering myself more, was why can I only feel joy or gratitude or love for small periods of time? And because I was avoiding the grief and the pain and the anger and the shame and the guilt, I was pushing away all emotions in their full force. So this pursuit for money can be a beautiful indicator of where we're trying to consume to fill a void we feel within ourselves. And the journey here, the medicine that we need to come home to, is slowing down and actually paying attention to why we feel the need to fill a void in the first place. Failure. I don't really like to use the word failure. I believe words are spells. So anything that we label ourselves with, I also try to avoid labels. It's sort of another way that we put ourselves in a box, and it can be used covertly by ourselves to shame ourselves in hidden ways. Failure for me, I guess in the material sense, or in what other people would call failure, I sent a business to the cleaners for $3.2 million. Just as I like to succeed really big, I like to learn my lessons in big ways too. And I look at that journey, and it was actually one of the greatest gifts because it's what started my inquiry inwards. I was making all of this money and my business was going amazingly great, and I actually started to grow too quickly, and I started to grow with ego. I was growing not from a grounded place of I want to create change or I want to help, or this is my mission. It was purely to prove a point. At this point, I hadn't really integrated my masculine wounding, and I was manifesting relationships or business partnerships with men that in my eyes were out to get me or wanted to fuck me over. And it was through the blame and the shadow that I cast on those relationships that the business actually started to fail, or started to not go in the direction that I wanted it to. And when, I realized that I'd gotten to this point of no return, that I had sort of backed myself into a corner, I really took it as an opportunity to start asking myself questions as to why. Like, if I had this life that everyone else wanted, and I was outwardly happy and outwardly had everything that everyone else wanted, then why was I creating chaos in my life? Why couldn't I hold on to this life that I had created? And it was through this process that I then started to ask myself some difficult questions and start the journey to truly coming home to myself, to know who I am and why these things were showing up in my life, and really actually start to take radical responsibility for everything in my life, probably for the first time ever, and really start to own my journey rather than blame my trauma.